Hello crafty friends, happy last day of February 2026. Figures. It figures. We'll wait, shall we? She's double checking her dish to make sure that it's empty. Just checking. So I thought today, to wrap up a month long of daily videos, we would end this month with a Flosstube. So I have collected everything here that not everything that I worked on in this month, but most everything. And I thought I'd start with a little recap of what I was up to this month. First and foremost, the most important thing was the fundraising for the Canadian Cancer Society. That was the plan. That was the goal, and set a team goal of raising $2,500 Canadian for this cause, and we did it. We did it. So a huge thank you to everyone who donated, and a special shout out to Susan for that last push that put us just to make our goal. Really, really appreciate everybody that donated. So our team successfully raised $2,500 Canadian, which is amazing. I also want to let you know, if you watched yesterday's video, I talked about Claire at CelticHobbies.com, and I told you all about the landmark and tapestries charts that she has available, and that they are no longer going to be available at all, and she is selling off the remainder of her stock, and she is donating $1 from every pattern sale to my charity of choice. So Claire emailed me this afternoon. I just read it just a little while ago, and she said that as of this morning, she'd already sold 53 charts. So she hopped on and she donated that $53 to Canadian Cancer Society. So Claire, if you're watching this, a massive thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for letting me know that this was kind of last call for those really special charts. I should also let you know that I did confirm with Claire that she does carry the Sampler Cove patterns. Specifically, one in particular that you've seen a lot this month. Many of you have been curious about it, and that would be Amtrak. So let me show you where we got to this month. Here's mine, and you will know that this is now, and has been for a while, one of my oldest whips. And my plan is to not put this away until it's finished. Completely finished, done, done, done. It's not going into timeout ever again until it's finished. So in the month of February, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me just tell you, Claire at Celtic Hobbies definitely sells this pattern, but at the moment she ran out. So she's ordering more. She's either just ordered more today or she's ordering more tomorrow. They're on the way. So if you're interested in this chart, you can hop on to www.celtichobbies.com, and she'll help you out. Again, it's 3 colors, this chart. A lot of the Sampler Cove designs are very similar in that pick your favorite floss and fabric and go to town, because they're really, really adaptable to your own materials. They're really quite fantastic patterns. Now, also Claire, if you're watching this, and in case I forget to email you tomorrow about this, I did have a couple of viewers leave me a message and asked me, they said they had trouble getting onto the website. And then I had another really lovely commenter hop in and say she'd had the same problem when she was trying to use Safari, the browser. And so she tried using a different browser. She used Chrome, which is Google. She tried using Chrome and she got into the website with no problem at all. So if you are having difficulty getting onto Claire's website, try a different browser. And if you're still having trouble, well, send me a message and I'll sort you out. So Amtrak, Amtrak, just like the train, but it's not based on the train, the railway. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back in a few minutes because my brain likes to, if I want to stay on track, which let's face it, isn't probably not going to happen, but I do try sometimes. I have a list. Look, I even wrote it down. I have a list. So in the month of February, I fully completed 2 things, like fully finished 2 full things. The first was the very first thing I started with, which was Love Letters by Modern Folk Embroidery. I loved stitching that design. It was a ton of fun. I'm always up for a monochromatic stitch. I was stitching it on an even weave, which I don't normally choose. So actually I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed that because it had been quite a while. And the last time that I used even weave, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the problem was, but this time around, it just seemed like there was that magical mix of chart, supplies, and desire. And I just loved the combo and it was really, really fun to stitch. So tick. Then the other thing that I fully finished was also a Modern Folk Embroidery project, but it was kind of one of my own making. So Jacob has his annual SAL, Stitch Along, and the 2026 Stitch Along is an absolutely gorgeous pattern called Little Acorns, and it's beautiful. And so when it came out, I was really thinking, oh, I so badly want to stitch that, but I have so many large scale projects on the go and planned. And I thought, you know, that chart just really lends itself well to being broken up into smaller projects. I've also been on kind of a smaller projects, small finish roll with the Quintessential Frisian Smalls, which I have to get back to those, and I need to finish up the last 2 because for myself, to prove to myself that I can do it, I need to get back to those and finish those. However, so what I did was I divided up Jacob's Little Acorns chart into 6 projects so that I could kind of focus on one for 2 months and hopefully have a finish within that 2 months for a small part of the design. So for January, I took the top band and I turned it into a small pillow. So I stitched it on 46 count linen, and I used 3 colors of floss. Now I used Roxy floss because that's what I carry in the shop, and well, that's what I use. It's now my favorite, and it's what I sell, so it's what I use. His charts, you can stitch them with anything. So really, really, again, just like Love Letters, just like these things that just lend themselves to grab your fabric, grab some floss, and just stitch. The color makes you happy, and it's small. It's a bite-sized piece, and you still feel like you're participating in the stitch along without that sort of feeling of, I don't know that I can finish this an entire year, but maybe I could finish 3 smalls that are from the same pattern so that I can feel like I'm stitching along with everybody else who's stitching it this year. So I'm not sure I'm going to get all 6 smalls done, especially, you know, we have busier times of the year, especially around end of April, beginning of May for our 2 weekends of Stitch North. And so I know that there are times in my year where things are just not going to happen. However, the plan is there. I can start them and they will be waiting for me to finish. And it's a small, so, anyways, I finished the first small, and so that sets me up nicely to begin the second one, which I will be starting next week. So the second one is a little bit different in that I'm taking two different bands, two slightly smaller different bands from further on down the chart. The one has groups of birds, pairs of birds in it. And then the very bottom band of the chart has like a triangular geometric pattern. And I'm going to use one as the bottom band, and then I'm going to take that band and I'm going to flip it upside down above the band of birds. So there's going to be those two bands, or those two geometric triangular bands are going to sandwich the bird band in the middle. I have a little mock-up of it, so I'm just going to post a photo here of what the stitching is going to look like. I have 3 colors chosen. I have the fabric chosen. I'm using a 40 count linen, and I also have the project picked out. I'm going to make a needle book. I've made it's a little bit bigger than like a small. It's more of a needle folio, as it were. You can fit, floss leftovers and things like that in it as well. I've already made a sort of basic. I've made a practice one. I've made a practice size, so I know that my size of linen will fit. I know what size I need to cut all of my pieces. I have the fusible fleece. I have the felt pages for the inside. Actually, I'm not using felt. I'm using batting because of the size that it was. Funny story. When because of what we do, my work, my job, I don't tend to buy things at craft stores. I tend to buy things wholesale because we go through so much of it. And we're resellers. So I have, distributors where I can buy things. And so craft felt, I have yet to find a place in Canada, like a distributor type place, that sells it in anything bigger than, I think are they 12 by 24 sheets, and they're pre-cut 12 by 24 sheets. And because we don't use a ton of it, I'm not looking to buy it on like rolls, right? We use it as an insert in our floss folios and so on. So it's not really worth looking for huge quantities, but I can get it in 12 by 24 packs. And so I will buy multiple packs at a time. But the size of this needle book, you'd have to cut it down and there would be quite a bit of waste. Whereas when we do the floss folios, we cut them so there is no waste in the felt. We use it all. But I couldn't make the math work for the felt in these needle books. And I thought, I don't want to use that because it's a waste. And at that point, it becomes very expensive to use. Anyways, I'm kind of getting a lot more, I'm kind of leading it down the garden path into information that you probably don't even really care about. All that to say, I'm going to be using our batting that we use in our bags as the inserts because it's it works the same. The goal is to have something to leave your needle in, as well as when you put your floss leftovers on it, it holds it in place, right? So you don't lose those flyaway bits and pieces. So that's the plan for the next small. Then I pulled out Amtrak. After I finished that pillow, it was really very satisfying to finish that pillow, like from start to finish. I blasted through that stitching. Now, if you've been watching the daily videos, you will know that I very naively, except it's not naive, is it? Because we all know better, but we always have, our eyes are bigger than our stomach, where we will set a goal and it's clearly delusional, but we still think we can do it, right? So when I started the stitching for that top band for the first pillow finish, I think I had about this much done of a pillow, of a band that was about 10 inches long on 46 count. 10 inches on 46 count, you know, that's a lot of stitching. And there was stitching friend Danielle left me a comment. She said, you know, there's like 3,500 stitches in that top band. Because I had said, oh, I'm going to finish it in a couple of days, no problem. And then I'll pick my next goal. Yeah. So, and of course, I knew that, right? But you always think, I'm going to have tons of time. I'm going to get this done. And it never happens. So it took me, I think it took me, well, I mean, I could check the videos if I wanted to be really sure, but it was a minimum of a week, probably like 10 days to finish the stitching and then turn it into a pillow. And I will tell you, that was the trick. You want to make something into a pillow and you have the impetus going, you finish the stitching immediately, as soon as you can, do that finish, turn it into the pillow. Because boy, was that satisfying, you know, because I just spent so much really, you know, crunch time stitching, not crunch time, but like intense stitching time. All my stitching time was done on that 46 count, 3-color pillow, and then immediately being ready to just go right, take it to the cutting table, cut out the pieces, take it to the sewing machine, done. I think it took me an hour to stuff that thing, because if you've ever stuffed pillow finishes, they always take a million times more stuffing than you think they could possibly hold, and you just keep, you know, tucking it into the corners and push. Like an hour later, finally finished it. But I love it. I absolutely love it. So now I'm really excited about starting project 2 next week. Then I moved over to Amtrak and I thought, okay, let's see what we can accomplish. No, that's a fib. That's a fib. I missed something. That I actually, it was the Jeanette Douglas Vintage Animals 2? No, that's not right. Is it Vintage Flowers 2 or Vintage? No, it's got to be Vintage Flowers 2. And I can't even remember the name of the pattern, but it's beautiful. And I stitched a small butterfly motif that I had started on this project that my friend Ellen had started for me. And I motif completed the butterfly. And so that felt like an accomplishment. Now, Amtrak. Here's what I accomplished in February on Amtrak. Keep in mind that I don't even remember the last time I worked on this. It was ages ago. So now you're going to see me looking like this because, well, I am of that age. And so in order for me to see what I'm showing you, where I started was this was all done. Basically, it looked complete, except this square was also complete. Nothing else. So I started out by stitching in the frame. So I stitched the frame, and then I started over here on this small band, and then I worked my way over, and then I got a wild hair, and I thought, that's it, finish that little band. So I finished that little band, and I had already done just a little bit of other stitching in there. So I think you can see that pretty well. So there it is. And so this weekend, I will definitely be putting in a few more lengths of floss in it. Like I said, it's not getting put away. It's also not going to be taken to work at all. It's going to stay here, downstairs, close to my stitching frame, so that it doesn't get taken to work and put away somewhere and forgotten about. I actually don't keep any projects here. I bring everything back and forth to work. So this one is staying here. And I look forward to sharing progress with you at the end of March. We'll see. We'll see how far we can get in the month of March. All right, so that's Amtrak. by Sampler Cove. Oh, details. It's a 25 count even weave mystery. It's probably a Zweigart antique white even weave. Definitely 25 count. I'm using 3 different colors of silk from Vicki Clayton. This was back from years and years and years ago. I don't even think she dyes these colors anymore. OMG Red, Steely's it was the blue, and Night Smoke is the gray. It's 3 colors. Pick 3 of your favorite colors, and this pattern, this design then becomes something that is, suited to your interior or decor. Again, these things are so easily adaptable to just become your next favorite thing. Okay, so after that, and I did not bring it with me, but I picked up another older project that's it's probably about 4 years old now. And it's the Nevermore design by Leela Studios. And it's one of the first few floss conversions that we did at Evertote. And it's one of the few that I did that went completely off book. So I am using Leela's pattern, but I'm using different floss colors. I took a nod to some of her, like the yellow, the gold, the rust, and the brown. I have those 3 colors in there, but they're not the called for flosses. And I'm probably not even going to use them further in the piece where she may have used them in her design. And so there was a motif in the where the phrase is, like a Quaker motif, and I finished that this month. So I will try to pull up photos from previous videos if I can, just because I don't have it here with me. But it is already after 7 o'clock on Friday night. This video will be going up tomorrow on Saturday, but my son is home this evening, and so I don't want to spend too much time editing. So I apologize that I don't have that here to actually show you. But if you were here during the month, or if you just go back a few videos, I probably put it in a screen capture, or I would have the description in the videos all along this month. If I put the project details in the description box on the videos, so you can see the Leela Studio ones from a few weeks ago. It was at least a couple weeks ago. Okay, so then I had a new start. Oh, this was a good one. So this is the 2026 Valentine's project, and I'm just realizing that I do not have my chart cover here, but it is a beautiful design with 2 swans in the middle, and they have their heads together, and they're in the shape of a heart, and there's a beautiful little like oval cartouche surrounding them. It's very ornate. And then there is the date, there is the phrase, the Latin phrase for love conquers all. And there are a few versions to choose from. I'm doing the 4 color version. And this is what I got done. Isn't it pretty? Yeah, it's so pretty. Hopefully you can see that and there's not too much. I think it's okay. I don't think there's too much light going through it. It is dark outside already, so yeah. Anyways, so there are only 3 of the 4 colors in there right now, because the swans are the first bit of the 4th color, and then there's a little bit more of it up in here in the frame. So I will be continuing to stitch along in this with this pattern. My goal is to complete this by March 14th. 1 month. And a little heads up, if you're a fan of modern folk embroidery, there is a very special release coming out next week from Jacob that is to celebrate his 15th anniversary of designing. In April, he's going to host a 30-day stitch along, and he is actually going to be doing daily small videos on his YouTube channel. That's Modern Folk Embroidery, if I didn't say that. And so next week you'll see the release of that pattern. So we're pretty excited about it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think he's starting April 1st, and it's not an April Fool's joke, I promise. So that's my Valentine's progress. Then the other thing that I did was I am working on oh, good gravy. Did I not bring that? I think I left my chart cover. I packed up everything so carefully, let me tell you. And I left it at work. Editing Caroline just found, I knew I had brought it home. I knew it. Floss pack, chart, Ella's Topam. That's it, right there. You're gonna see me pop in again one more time before we're through. I left it at work. All right, so it's Ella's Topam, which is a wonderful reproduction sampler from 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. And I worked on the petals in the floral tree in the center of the sampler. So if you have never seen this, I know, pretty underwhelming, right? However, it is the start of something very, very, very beautiful. I can promise you that. So I have two large samplers that I am doing a sort of loose stitch along. If you are stitching any 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers designs and you would like to join in, I have a Facebook group, and it's called 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers, Ella's Topam. I think it's just the title of the piece, but you don't have to be stitching this. You could be stitching any 1897 chart. So I need to go and post my progress for this on that Facebook group. Okay, so that was something that was a little mini goal that I set myself, was to finish that color complete those circles, and I did that. Then I had a new start. I started the Jet X stitch, I like cross stitch, and I started it on new linen from my good friend Kerri of Roxy Floss Co, and it's new linen called On the Bright Side. And there's my little start. If you watched yesterday's video or the day before, I haven't put in any more threads since then, but I do plan on getting some in soon, because come on, look at those ducks. I'm really excited to add on either side. On this side, there's more of the dark, dark, dark blue on this side. And then over here, you get into the greens and the orange. Here's the floss pack. Look at these colors. Right? It's like happiness in floss. It's beautiful. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that. And watching it come together. I'm really playing it close to the wire with my fabric, because I don't know what I was thinking, but I started on a wide 1/8 of linen. It's 40 count. And I thought, you know, this pattern's not that big. And then I looked at the stitch count. I don't know why it didn't occur to me before to check the stitch count. I think I just looked at the cover. I'm like, oh, that's tiny. It's not big at all. So the stitch count is 190 by 250. It's big. It's big. So on my wide eighth of fabric, which is 13 inches wide, I'm going to have about an inch and a half. I'm going to have about an inch and a half on both sides. So that's why I started right in the middle. I measured and I started right in the middle so that I could go right out to, so that I wouldn't make a mistake and then really regret it. Because at that point, I had already attached the fabric to my scroll rods. I wasn't going to rip it off and do that all over again. I thought, you still have an inch and a half. I have a great framer. I have a great, great framer. And, you know, let's just do it. So I did, and I don't regret it. So that's I Like Cross Stitch. And then, what did I do then? Oh yeah, I had a new start from Shakespeare's Peddler. Now this I did leave at work. Okay, me again. So I was sure I had brought it home, and I surely did. So here is my little start for Hope. And I got the word human done. So, can you even see it? I think you can see it. So that was my my fancy start. So it's going to be beautiful when it's done. So there you go. I did remember it. And frankly, there's not much to show you anyways. It's a wonderful pattern called Hope. There's a beautiful cartouche in the middle with a phrase that's you know, appropriate, timely. It's wonderful. Teresa Vanette is coming in October for Stitch North, and I want to have at least a few models that are well underway by the time she comes, because, you know, I want to impress her, right? So I had to start somewhere. So I did start that. And then the last thing I worked on this month, in the month of February, was a chart by my very good friend, my best friend. You saw her, you loved her at the beginning of February, Ellen of Maximum Cross Stitch, also of the Crash Test Dummies. Ellen Reed, she just posted a Flosstube last week, FYI. If you used to watch her, and because you know what happens, sometimes a couple of years will go by and all of a sudden a Flosstuber will come back, but they're not in anybody's feeds anymore. So if you used to watch Ellen and you really enjoyed her Flosstube, she's a new one up that she just did. I think she did it on Sunday because I watched it on Monday night. And as always, she's charming as heck. So I worked on this today. There is magic in everything. I am sure there is magic in everything is the phrase on the chart. There's the chart. So the quote is from The Secret Garden. So now there are two versions of colorway for this chart. This was given, Ellen gifted this to members of our fabric club about a year ago. About a year ago when we released two linens, the fabrics for the linen club, for the Roxy Linen Club were, it's not just linen, the fabric club. The darker pink is called Love Bug, and then we had a pale pink for the traditional club, and it's called Powder Puff. And so Ellen designed this chart basically for Love Bug. And I said, well, you know, what about the traditional stitchers who are getting Powder Puff? You know, we should maybe offer an alternative colorway so that they can stitch it too. So by changing 4 flosses, they could stitch it on either linen. That chart is now released, and so it's available for general use. Now, I started the Powder Puff version, and Ellen started the Love Bug version. We both started on 36 count linen. I was using 1 strand of floss over 2. Ellen was using 2 strands of floss over 2. And she was not enjoying it at all. In fact, it was making her rather unhappy because, and I don't say this lightly, but Ellen does a lot for me. Like Ellen is one of those friends that you you really realize how lucky you are to have a friend like that. She does a lot of stuff for my business because she loves me, and I hope that she knows I love her in return, and I hope that she feels I do things for her in return. But it's one of those friendships where she does so much for me. She's always stitching things for, I just like give you a sneak peek there. She's always stitching things for Evertote. And so when she started this piece, for her, it was also the cover model for her design. But she used 2 threads of floss, and she stitches a lot, like a lot. And the 2 strands of floss, we're pretty sure, and she's pretty sure, that it's probably what gave her some wrist issues that then really snowballed last year. And there was a good chunk of time where she couldn't stitch at all, which was, you know, as you can all imagine, was devastating. So I said, you know, because she said, oh, I should really stitch that thing. And it sort of, you know, was sort of abandoned, and she knew, like, she kept bringing it up because she knew she felt she had to stitch it. And I said, look, you always, you know, stitch all these other things for me. Why don't you give that to me and I will stitch that, because then I can have 2, and one of them will be yours and I will finish it for you, and one of them is for me. So here's mine. Powder puff, 1 strand of floss, and you can see I got that super sweet swing stitched in there. I love it. Look at that border. It's amazing. So there's mine. 1 strand of floss over 2 on 36. And here's Ellen's. There. Look at that. Look at that. So don't think it's not giving you the true niceness of that fabric, but look at the stitching. So today I put in 3 lengths of floss, 2 strands into the house. I built some bricks in the house. That's what I did. So I can count that as more stitching, a couple of pieces that I touched in February. So grand total in the month of February, I worked on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 things, 10 projects. I had 2 complete finishes, and I had 1, 2, 3 new starts. So, but I have no shame. No shame at all. All right, now, what are my plans for March? What are my plans for March? So the 2 projects that I'm bringing into March from February are my Valentine's piece, as well as the Amtrak, of course. And I will also be working on the Teresa Vanette Hope piece that I started. And I will be starting a new one called Painted Flowers. And it is on a dark fabric with a really beautiful thread pack. So it's called Painted Flowers. I'll try to put in a screen cap for you because it's a fantastic pattern. And I think I'm crazy, but it's 36 count Night Owl. I haven't stitched on 36 count fabric this dark since I stitched Moonshine Cabin 4 years ago. So my eyes are a little different than 4 years ago, but I think with good lighting, I'm confident I can do it. So I have worked on dark blue fabric and a few others, but anyways, so wish me luck. I am going to be starting that. So I'm excited about that. And let's see. Other plans. Oh, yes. One of the big market releases coming out next week from Teresa Kogut. Use our stuff. Use the Roxy line as the called for. the pattern, there's a booklet with 3 patterns in it, and I think it's called Find Joy. I think that's the title of the booklet, is called Find Joy. Has 3 patterns in it, and the called for is panettone linen and flosses. Now, I will say this: the cover model, and this is the thing, right? Like, photography on cover models, it never is going to look like the actual materials. So it doesn't quite look like panettone fabric, but the design is beautiful. And I hope that because I know the model was stitched with the called for, because we sent her the materials, and I know they were used. So it's always really interesting to see, just like when I showed you the Jet X stitch pattern, you know, these things always look a little bit different. Anyways, another chart that's from the same sort of collection. These were Patreon charts from her Patreon last August, and now she's releasing them. And one of them is a gigantic biscornu, and it's called My Garden. Yeah, My Garden. Now, funny story, because when Hannah was doing the listing and she saw the pattern, she's like, oh, that's a big cornu. So the project in the shop is actually called the Big Cornu, which is quite funny. Now, I started this last year when I got the charts on her. I signed up for her Patreon, and so I started them then. And these are the flosses. This is now it looks quite green, doesn't it? So when you see the cover photo and you look at the panettone and it looks really, really green, in some lights it looks super green. It has a brown undertone, and it also depends on what time of year that it's dyed. Oh my good gravy. Someone is disappointed that she's been ignored for so long. In the spring, summer, more of the red undertones start to come out. So anyways, I can look at this and I can say, yeah, that was dyed in the wintertime, which is quite funny. So I started in the middle of the biscornu, and because it's a 2-color biscornu, I had to start the back piece as well. Now, Teresa's called for linen, and the linen that the model is stitched on, she used Coco Loco for the back piece, which is also a Roxy linen. It's a dark, rich kind of chocolate brown color. And when I kitted this up, I was in, and it's beautiful. Like, the combination is beautiful. You can't go wrong. I was in the linen room when I was kitting it up, and I had a piece of French hen sitting with my panettone, and I thought, I really like that. So I'm actually stitching mine, the back part of my biscornu, with French hen. So this is French hen, this is panettone, winter edition. I'm not sure how close to the dye lot that's currently available this is, but panettone, whatever version you get, is lovely, and it'll look great with these flosses. And then you stitch those 2 pieces, and then you put your big cornu together. So because it's being released next week, I need to get some more stitches into this. So that is one plan. Next up, I've got my key tags on my, I use those key tags. These are really handy. You can, oh, again, somebody is thirsty again. You get them, you know, in just packs at the hardware store, right? And you just write your pattern name on it, and then I just stick the ring on my zipper pull. Easy. This is one of my favorite pieces ever, because it's the second one in a series of bouquets that my friend Ellen designed, reproduced, and there will be a third one coming eventually. So I stitched Gwyneth's bouquet. I finished it about a year ago and had it framed in a, if you've seen my videos at the office, there's one that's usually right behind me that's in a circle frame, and it's a floral bouquet in a circle frame. That's Gwyneth's bouquet. You're fine. I know. You're fine. That's Gwyneth's bouquet. I loved it. I loved stitching it. It's one of my favorite finishes ever. This is Elizabeth's bouquet. Okay. So the model was done on Night Owl, which is that dark linen I showed you earlier that I'm going to do that painted flowers on. So that's Night Owl, and she did the model on Night Owl. I went rogue again and decided that I would do mine on French Hen. Oh man, I forgot how good this was. I mean, I knew it was good, but you forget how much you have, like, oh, like I have to do this. Look at this. Look. What? Look at how good that is. Look at how beautiful. And that's a little more accurate color-wise. I love French Hen. French Hen is a sort of brown gray, beautiful modeling in it. It's actually an over-dyed fabric, so it's dyed once. You're fine. Go on. She's going to tell me a story now about how neglected she is. Yes. It's dyed once, and then it's dyed again to achieve the tones that you see. And this pattern on this fabric just makes me really, really happy. So I am definitely going to be adding some more stitching into this in March. I know it's out of season, but I don't care because I love this so much. I want this on my wall. The floss pack is not small, but that's how Ellen achieves the shading in those flowers. So it's a lot of floss, but very usable colors. I'm using some of the leftover floss from my Gwyneth's bouquet in one of her free designs called Go Show Love, and I am using it in that. I started that at the end of January, and I need to put a few more stitches into that as well. Oh, I don't want to misplace my chart. Let's put that back in there. Okay, so that's Elizabeth's bouquet. Now, two more that I really want to get to in March. Artsy Housewife. They are releasing a chart at Nashville called Springfields. And this is Summerfields that I believe was released last year. Yeah, 2025. So this one was released last year. So there's the cover. It's really, really fun. So I started this. I chose the fabric. Kerri dyed this fabric last year. It's called Allure, A-L-L-U-R-E. And let me show you the fabric first. Look at that. Okay, so the fabric is called Allure. I think it's 28 or 32. I think it's 32 count that I'm doing. And I'm doing a Floss Boss Hannah conversion. That way, yeah, this is my floss. Super bright, summery colors. And I finished, did I finish? Yeah, I finished the flower pot at the bottom. So not much. Can you even see it? I think you can. Is it blowing out? Let me put something behind it. There. Yeah. You can see it. I hope you can see it because I can see it. It's really fun. It's really fun. The colors are super bright. Just like, you know, I think that's what draws us to these designs like Jet X and Artsy Housewife, who use these really bold graphic colors for their designs. They just make you happy, you know, when you're pulling that floss through, and it's just that punchy color. It's just really beautiful. So I would like to do a bit more of that. So when you look at the chart, you see how it's got the leaves and I would like to be able to stitch those orange flowers because I really want to see how they look on the fabric. I'm excited to see what they look like on the fabric. That's why I want to get to that. Okay, last but not least project that I am, to use a Brenda and Laura phrase, I am hepped up about. I started last year a large-scale, long-term project from Jeanette Douglas. It is the Floral Alphabet Samplings series of charts. The last and final charts are being released at Nashville for the remainder of the alphabet. So I only have the covers for the first two here. There's ABC. And here's DEF. Okay, so look at chart number 1 again. Okay, because we carry now a lot of Jeanette Douglas, does many Jeanette Douglas charts in the shop. She was our guest designer last October at Stitch North, and she's a hoot. She's a hoot and a half. So we brought in a lot of her charts and we converted them all to our materials. So I decided that, oopsie, see, my scroll rods are too long. I decided that I was going to do this series on one piece of fabric as my kind of big alphabet piece, because I knew the Prairie Schooler alphabet was just not in the cards ever for me, but this felt achievable. This felt achievable as an alphabet sampler, something that I could, you know, work away at for the next few years and actually complete. And I actually finished the first chart. You've probably seen it before because I have shown it off, but I'm showing it again because it is so heckin' beautiful. So there is chart 1. There's the ABC. And you can tell my colors are a little bit different. I lightened up the pinks in the flower, but I absolutely love it. I just love it. So my finished, Jeanette just sent me a photo of her model stitch completed piece that has all 8 designs done. And she's actually done them in 2s all the way down. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm doing 2 rows of 4. So I'm putting two stitch squares in between each design. So I am ready and itching to start the second chart. And did you notice that the bottom band is entirely specialty stitches? And I did that all by myself. And I'm telling you, it was not hard at all. It was so fun. Jeanette's instructions were fantastic in the chart. Not hard at all. I can totally achievable. So with chart 2, I'm actually going to start at the bottom with the specialty stitch band that's part of, that is the, it's at the bottom of chart 2, right there. So I'm gonna start down here. Yep, gonna do it. And I have everything in my cutie patootie little small bag. I have, this was a needle book that my good friend Dawn made for me. I love this thing. It travels around, so I've just got it tucked in here. It's got some of my leftover threads. And the floss pack, what the heck is that? Oh, that's where that went. I was wondering where this thing had gotten to. It's one of those thread domes. You can preload needles for monochromatic stitching. And we used to have them online, but we don't anymore. We will have them at Stitch North. But if you just Google clover, because it's a clover product, thread dome, they're pretty useful little things if you love monochromatic stitching, because you can preload 10 needles and then you slip them into the slots. You wrap the floss around and then you just, I'll make the noise for you so you can hear what I mean. Are you ready? Because it's a clicking noise. So if you're wearing earbuds, just forewarned. That's the noise, right? So really useful little thing. Again, I'm pretty sure you can find them anywhere. Clover thread dome, 2 words, 3 words. It's a product by Clover. Thread dome is 2 words. Yeah, that's been hiding out in here for a while at the bottom. I'm surprised I didn't see that before. The thread pack that we've done up is enough thread for the entire series. So Jeanette, what she did was she used the same colors across the entire series. There were 3 purples, I think, that she didn't have available at the beginning, but she gave those numbers a few months in, and they're so you can find them all now, and the conversion that we have includes it. So this floss will one day be a very beautiful alphabet sampler series. So those are my plans. That's what I got done. That's what I worked on. That's where I'm headed. And that was my February. And here we are all the way at the end of the month. So yeah, I'm not going to know what to do with myself every day not doing daily videos. It's been a wonderful part of my day. A really wonderful part of my day. So if you've been hanging out with me, you know, here and there, now and then throughout the month, if you checked in, if you touched base, you know, I know not everybody leaves comments, and lots of people watch and don't leave comments, and that's okay. You should never feel like you have to leave comments, because trust me, I watch a lot of videos and you don't leave comments because you're usually stitching, right? If you're watching it on your TV, you're not able to comment there. I never expect anyone to leave comments. So if you watched and you enjoyed following along with me and my scattered ways and my love for this craft that we share, thank you. Thanks for being here. It gave me something really, really positive to focus on this month, and I really have enjoyed it. So thank you. On that note, I'm not going to disappear, I promise. I know that usually this channel goes very quiet unless it's December holiday countdown. But I know, 2 minutes. I'm almost done. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She's worse than well, she's not worse than a toddler, really, frankly. And toddlers aren't terrible like that. You know what I mean, right? Right. It's not equivalent. That's what I meant. I would love to be here more regularly for videos like this in between the times where we do daily videos together. So, and I don't like to set, I'm going to be here every week because, well, life happens, right? And things get busy. But I do have a little bit more help at the office, hopefully, with some video editing stuff. And she's very new and she's learning. So I'm hoping that it's going to work out, but she's also learning how to use our new printer that's at work. And so she's going to be a busy lady, but I'm hoping that that's going to allow me a little bit more of an opportunity to do a bit more of the sort of more personal video work that is here on this channel. This is the channel that I started with. It's kind of my first foray into doing anything like this. I've met some amazing friends, wonderful. I've just been included in a really wonderful community, and so I hope to show up here more often. Daily videos, I'm going to let Jacob take on the daily videos in the month of April. We're preparing for Stitch North now. We've got Stitch North April, May, so perhaps June. We'll see what we can do, maybe in June. We'll see. June, July, maybe there'll be a little visit to the cottage in there, so you can, you know, maybe see a little bit more of off the grid. I haven't been able to spend a lot of time there in the past few years, which has been very, you know, it's just a season, right? It's a season. The cottage isn't going anywhere. But yes, the few times that I have been there, I've not really filmed a lot because it's sort of been really kind of precious family time. So I'm hopeful that this year, it's already this year, I'll have a little bit more time to share a bit more there. Okay, so I better wrap it up. I have a funny feeling this video is quite a bit longer than I intended. I'm seeing 1 hour. Yeah, it's almost an hour. So if Ellen is watching, this was maximum. It was about cross stitch and it was just under an hour. So take care, everybody. I will see you around. Happy stitching. Take care. Thanks again.